showered back at day after or the Sunday Thanksgiving weekend.
Oh,
Yeah, traffic that was the worst traffic I've ever had.
Tom, what changes, since pinching, or whatever you want to call it, but
yeah,
Northwestern.
AJ's still a work in progress. I mean, he's doing a lot better. He's done a lot better from last year, the year before. I mean, just look at the free throw shooting. AJ's stubborn. And I tell him that all the time. And but he's starting to figure out that I too want what's best for him. My staff wants what's best for him. But he's got some great skills. He's just got to get through the lackadaisical part of things. And I think it's really helped that his free throw shooting has improved, because I think he saw what he did all summer, and now he's maybe 88%. He's winning games for us. But he's got so much more to give. Like he's really good defensively. He showed some of that last night. Off the ball, he's got to get better. He's really good on the break. He's got to be consistent with it. If he gets consistent, he'll go from good to great, and that's the push.
How much does him getting more consistent help him be demonstrative as a leader? I saw him kind of get in the collar, and that's kind of something you want, but you got to have the.
Well, that was one of the things on why I want him to sit and watch for a while, because the leadership part of it, whether you're a leader or not, you have to be if you're the quarterback. I mean, it doesn't matter. It goes with the territory, Football, you got to be able to pass the ball. If you're a quarterback, you got to be able to call the plays, and you got to be able to lead your team. It's no different in basketball. And I didn't think that was, an area. I think he had the voice to do it, but he just wasn't doing it. So all those things played into a part of it. But I'm really happy for him when you see somebody buy into something. It goes, right, now the next chore is, can it consistently be done?
How's he doing in terms of last year? You used to talk about the importance of learning how to take some blame if you're a point guard.
Yeah. Well, remember last year it was somebody else's fault. That's what our world is about right now. You have to be able to complain and then blame. And I think he's gotten a lot better on that. You don't see that in him as much as you used to. And so my next chore is consistency on the break, consistency off the ball defensively, continue to work on taking good shots, once in a while. They're not as good. And then I want him to get into film watching, because the film doesn't lie. And that's an area that he's, it's taken a little time on, and he's got to get like the Cleveses and the Valentines and those guys that just grinded and watched film every day, Tom. Those guys were really good at it, and that way they can see, and you don't have to explain to them, and you don't have to get them to believe you, because they can see it. So we watch film with them, but I mean the great ones come in and watch film on their own and know everything that's going on, because they want to get better, and that's the next step he has to take.
Does he get a lift from doing that in front of friends and family? Did he get back on the flight yesterday, like feeling good about basketball?
I don't want to say this because everybody's asking questions because of one good game.
Right.
But don't get carried away by this. I mean, he didn't reinvent the wheel. It wasn't that his mom and dad showed up there a lot of games, or a couple of friends, and all of a sudden I'm going to do everything right. I think he's learning that, to trust us a little bit too. Players got to trust coaches, and coaches got to trust players. And yet, coaches aren't going to trust players if they don't see those things going on every day. Players may never trust coaches, because it's just what you do when you're 18 to 22. You all did it, and didn't maybe trust your parents, didn't believe what they're saying, your teachers, and it's just a part of life. But it's really fun when you see somebody do some of the things that you work with them on or talk to them about, and then they have success. There's no better learning lesson than that. That's the greatest equalizer of all.
When you were using him as a 3 in that Fort Worth lineup, or how was that?
Yeah, we were all over the place because they have such a strange. We even played. I told the writers that were there. I'm sure none of you even recognized it at the end, but we played 3 possessions in zone. Oh, you did recognize it, which is illegal here. Quick possessions, buddy, possessions. I always get accused of not playing zone. I played zone. So, yeah, they were quick possessions, but they were good possessions. And, AJ was playing all over the place. I mean, if I had Trey in there, sometimes I'll play him off. Certain plays, I want Ty at the point. So, yeah, that's the one good thing about AJ. He's got a high basketball IQ. He can pick up things.
How about the substitution? It seemed like you kind of were able to intersperse guys,
we're trying
timeouts a little more.
We're trying, and part of the reason is Jaden just coming back. I mean, Jaden's 2 weeks away from being what I think, but he made big progress last night from the game before. He really needs to get in great shape, which there's nothing you can do except work out every day, and that's coming. And then the shots coming back and all those other things will, but then the feel, and that's probably the last thing that'll come back because he hasn't played for 11 out of those 13 weeks.
Couple 50 rebounds. That one block slash foul.
Rebound and defense, I think, is why we lost two of our best defensive players when those two went down. I mean, and that, I told you, it changed our whole. It flipped us. We went from our field goal percentage and the points we allowed and the points we got. It flipped 74 to 67, and we went to 67 points for us and 74 for opponents. And that had a lot to do with those two guys, the excuse or reality, whatever you want to call it. But Jaden Akins can rebound. I think he got 6 or 7 rebounds in that Villanova game, which was the last game he played in, even though he was only a week and a half back. So getting him back is going to help. It helped Pierre because he didn't have to play 35 minutes. He can play 25 minutes. We got to get Trey in there a little more, get AJ's minutes down a little bit. Joey Hauser's the other guy I worry about a little bit more. But he had a phenomenal game, and but he too is playing. I mean, the first 8 minutes of that game, we looked like I kept saying to my staff, we're in quicksand. It was worse than Notre Dame. And then that's when I realized, probably did some damage to my team with the number of games in that short period.
With the zone, what were you trying to get accomplished?
Just not let them get a quick shot. They were penetrating us. They were isolating, and my assistant suggested we haven't worked on it much, but we did play it, and it really did bought us a few seconds here and there, short seconds, but it bought us some. And they didn't get to the rack, so they didn't penetrate and kick, so they had to take shots that were contested. 3-2.
You talked last night on TV, Tom, about challenging their character and telling them to sort of grit through that last game of a long stretch. Just wondering a day later how you reflect on that. What stands out about that part of the game?
Yeah, it was a hell of a meeting that morning. About that, about what we got to do. I made the comment that I had watched the Jimmy V and the Dick Vitale, and I watched, and I don't know how anybody's going to fight through any adversity anymore because you're never allowed to have any. But I said in that room, there's 20 of us in the room, 5 or 6 of us are going to get cancer. How are you going to fight through it? You're going to lay there and die, or you're going to fight through it? And I don't want to be so dramatic, but that is what we're missing with this screwed up way we're doing things. And yet that is the reality of life. And so I said, we got to quit feeling sorry for ourselves. I don't think anybody just did that. I do think we were dead tired. I can say that now because that stretch was over, but I couldn't have changed it either. TV moved some games. There was so much in scheduling. When the season's over, I'll go through it all with you, but it was different. And so it wasn't the games, like I said, that we played. It was when we played them, and the lack of practice time, I think, really affected this team a little bit. Yet, we're not anywhere different than we were at the beginning. We got a lot to prove yet. We have not accomplished anything. We're not the best talented team I've had, but we're what I said at the beginning. We're a team that I think gets along, and getting maybe our most versatile player back here in a couple of weeks would be really helpful too.
And then when you get that, you sort of issue the challenge, you get the response. Now, what do you want to see us carry over into this weekend against a different situation, different type of team, obviously?
Number one, it's kind of unique, with Doug's kid being on the team, and I think when we scheduled them, we figured, this is a Ivy League team that hasn't been very good, and they just won 5 of their last 7, and beat a team that beat Syracuse and then beat Rhode Island. We all know Rhode Island on the road. It's a good team, and they got a great little guard, and Paxton is playing really well. So that is the problem, you know. Most people are playing some of these teams that are 350th. We're not. So even our, I guess you call it a bye game, since they come here, we don't go to their place. You know, Oakland's one of them. You know what Oakland's been like forever, no matter what their record is. Buffalo is one of them. They're really good. And Brown was one we didn't think would be as good, and now they're on a hot streak. So the carryover's got to be, can we consistently now do the things we got to do to get better? And, you know, like you think we have 2 days of practice, everybody says, well, you got an extra day this week. Just think about that, you know. All we're doing now is meeting. You know, we might walk through a little bit, but tomorrow we'll have 1 day practice again, and there we go. So it will be an incredible first 11 games, I promise.
That battle tested nature, I mean, I know you've done this before with other teams, but does this team seem pretty equipped for what the tenacity they showed?
Yeah, you know, I think so. I don't think it's the toughest team I've had either. I think they're getting there, you know, and I think we're you know, the advantage of the 2 injuries was we had to have other guys step forward. I mean, Jackson Kohler played really well last night, what he did. Really well. His coverages and everything really well. Trey is really getting better. They wouldn't have gotten any chance. Pierre is getting better, you know. We still have a long way to go, but we are making some progress. If we can get through Saturday's game, now we do have some practice time. If the damn university wouldn't make us take finals, we could really do a good job. But I guess they think academics is important, even though nobody else seems to think it is. But I agree with our university it is.
You mentioned that you were reeling a bit before you left. How much would you say that last night was a much-needed win for your team, maybe from a morale standpoint?
Yeah, you know, I don't think it was a must-win because it's too early in the year, and we knew the circumstances, and they were playing really well. And Mike has done an unbelievable job there. But you know, at that morning breakfast, I just felt like we just were a little bit down on ourselves, and I thought we were really tired. And so to win a game like that on the road, I think gives you a boost. Now, whether we contain that and carry it on and not, you know, let Twitter, you know, we were, I think, at the bottom of the ocean a week ago, and then I think we were put on the moon last night, and really we're probably in the same place we've always been, with a chance to get better. So, I mean, I think anytime you win, it's good, and anytime you win a road game, it's really good. But under the circumstances we're on, I think this could benefit us later on in the season because we have a measuring stick to say, hey, listen, we went through this. You know, we can fight through when some things go wrong later on, which they all will.
You mentioned you were in quicksand early in that game. Kohler came in at a time